Jayadev Galla.
With your permission, I'll speak from here. Sir, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this small but very important piece of legislation. The bill has only one objective, and that is to increase the period of for teachers to acquire prescribed qualification by 4 more years, or up to March 2019. I welcome this and thank the Honourable Minister, Shri Jayadev, on behalf of lakhs of teachers in the country who have been requesting this for at least the last 2 years, sir. So thank you, sir. The bill is necessary because after March 2015, teachers are barred from getting requisite qualification in view of the deadline. And secondly, the state governments were not able to continue the process of imparting training to untrained teachers because of legislative hurdle. Sir, most of the speakers have covered in detail the need for quality, not only quantity, the gaps between private and government schools, the gaps between urban and rural, the gaps between north and south, east, west, and northeast, and the gaps between action and intent. I'm not going to repeat all of that now, but I want to spend some time talking about the gaps between even the best among the schools today and what is needed for the future. Sir, the current form or system of education was developed in the wake of the Industrial Revolution in the early 1800s. The concept of free and universal education and later mandatory education was a result of the needs of this era. Children were sorted by date of birth, as if that was the only similarity worth considering. According to Howard Gardner of Harvard University, there are 9 types of intelligence, sir. These include musical, visual, verbal, logical, kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, naturalistic, and existential or moral intelligence. Every person will possess a multiple of these types of intelligence, sir. No human being is alive who doesn't possess at least a few of these types of intelligence. But the educational system is designed to recognize, develop, and reward only some of these types, sir. Till now, this has resulted in many children unable to recognize their own talent, or even if they did, inadequate resources and opportunities to develop those talents. Now, with the advent of the 4th Industrial Revolution, on the back of rapid technological changes taking place right now, we need a complete rethink of the education system, the way it was done during the last Industrial Revolution. I think it's time for us now to look at what do we need for this next Industrial Revolution that is taking place right in front of our eyes. With artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, 3D printing, autonomous cars, buses, trucks, maybe even planes, the vast majority of our jobs will be lost to automation. Even in services, the low-end services like coding, accounting, in the low-end services within these areas of coding, accounting, legal, even teaching, even judicial verdicts are now being automated, sir. The skills and knowledge required by children studying in schools today will be inadequate by the time they are looking for jobs. The curriculum, the methodology, the duration, and the outcomes need to be relooked at not only at the primary level, but at secondary, technical training, undergraduate, and even graduate levels. Sir, the skills required for the future will be the skills that are difficult to automate. Skills that have to do with creative thinking, reasoning, and judgment. Reading, writing, and arithmetic, the 3 R's as they used to call it, are no longer sufficient. Even the STEM education, the emphasis that we've been putting on the STEM education, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, is creating one-dimensional knowledge and capability that can be easily automated. With so much of automation, the people employed will be working fewer hours also, sir. And this will give rise to more demand for both leisure and entertainment. And therefore, the creative skills required to entertain people will be in much more demand in the future. We need more emphasis, sir, on sports, on drama, music, art, poetry, all of these fine arts, as well as liberal arts, social sciences, and which are completely inadequate today in all levels of education. I believe these are the subjects required for the future. These are the subjects that will be difficult for machines to overtake the capability of humans, sir. Sir, one more point I'd like to make. I wish to make is relating to the expenditure to train untrained teachers. Sir, I'm sorry to say that the government, after devolution of 42% divisible funds to states, is dumping everything on the states, sir. It is saying that we have given 42%, so you do the entire thing. In the present case, you're asking the states to bear 60% of the expenditure involved. The states are not in a position to bear this burden since it is not a one-time expenditure, it is a recurring one, sir. So I suggest for a consideration of the Honorable Minister to make this as a 10-90 ratio between states and center, and I hope the entire House will agree with me. Definitely. Sir, the final point is, it is not just Target 3 of the Millennium Development Goal 2, which only wants to ensure that children to complete primary education by 2015. But the most important point is in Goal 4C of the Sustainable Development Goals, which emphasize that supply of qualified teachers, including through international cooperation for teacher training, has to be taken up by developing countries. So I would like to know from the Honorable Minister as to what international exposure to our teachers the Ministry is proposing to give so that teachers will get an opportunity to understand the methodologies, techniques, and other things being implemented elsewhere. With these observations, I request the Honorable Minister to look into the issues raised and take appropriate action for holistic development of children as propounded under the RT Act. And while doing so, please look for opportunities to leapfrog to the future rather than expanding the existing obsolete system, sir.